Well, now on this board with me are 10 things I wish I knew them when I was at my 20s. And all these things is about money. I wish, hey, guess what? If I knew these things back when I was at my 20s, honestly speaking, could have done wonders. But I'm not regretting it anyway. If you're watching these videos and yet you're at your 20s, you should say thank you, because if you can get this information as early as you can, the better it will be. And also, if you're at early 30s, well, just like I am, you can be able to go ahead and do something amazing as far as this life is concerned and as far as the money is concerned. Because I've ever been in a situation whereby you start regretting and say, hey, guess what? I usually read the comments and I realize some guys are telling me, hey, Joseph, where were you 5 years ago? Where were you when I got my first job? Where were you when I was this? Now, this is the point. Instead of you regretting some of these things, does not matter the age. Even if you're at your 40s, whatever, you can be able to grab them, do something about it for the remaining number of years before they call you a retired guy. That's it. That's how exactly you can do it. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for your eyeballs for coming here and watching this video. And if you're a new subscriber here, come on. If you're watching for the first time, my name is Good Joseph. Talk about money, investment, and anything related to exactly that. And I usually upload a video each and every day. And if you don't want to miss one of my good news videos, make sure that you like this video, comment down below, and make sure that you subscribe to this channel so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new good video. Let's get into the business now. Here we are. Okay. Now, the very first point that you're supposed to understand that is quite important to learn way at your 20s is that risk tolerance changes with time. You see, if you pick a guy who is at the 20s and then a guy who is at 40s, those guys, they have different risk tolerance. That's for a fact. The guy at 20s can afford to take multiple risks, can actually afford to take a bigger risk compared to someone who is at 50s or 40s. Why am I talking about that? Because they have more responsibilities. For example, probably the guy at 20s does not have families, and if they have the family, then it's not like big as this guy. And again, this guy is securing the retirement plan. This guy probably is not even thinking about the retirement and such kind of a thing. So for example, this guy say they have, say both of them, they have 100K, 100K. They want to start an investment or a business. This guy of 20 can actually go into the business. Maybe things go south. The guy can go back and be able to make the same amount of money because there is a luxury thing that this guy at 20s has, which is time. This guy at 40s or 50 does not have, which is actually time. So learn to leverage time. And I always tell you, if you cannot be able to take care of two things, you can't make money. Number one, you can't take care of time, and two, you can't take care of what you call it, secret. So you must be a timekeeper for you to be a money keeper. That is it. Has never changed, will never change, and I'm not looking forward into it changing anytime soon. Okay, now we go to the point number two. There is something called small early investments are the game changers. See, back when we used to, I remember my very first salary when I was quote unquote like employed. See, I used to be a tutor when I was back in university, so my first salary was around 5,000. And obviously when you could tell me, hey, go ahead, Joseph, and you can invest as small as you can, and I didn't even buy that kind of an idea. Well, I was kind of an enthusiast about making money and such kind of a thing. Though for my case, I was a little bit aware about these investments. Not all of them, but at least I could tell what is what and what goes where and such kind of a things, okay? But the fact remains, largely guys who are their 20s, they never even think about investments. You get somebody who is earning 10,000, 15,000, whatever amount of money that you earn, maybe it's your first salary or something of sort. So you find these guys are not even doing anything to do with investment. They're just out there squandering the money that they have. They're doing what we call the self-identity, making their self happy, moving out there and all those kind of things. The moment people start to hit their 30, that's the time like they open their eyes, more responsibilities on top of them, and then they realize, hey, we cannot again keep on moving with this crowd thinking and all those kind of things. So if you can be able to start that small investment, pick an MMF, pick something like a Sacco, pick something like like buying stocks or shares, pick something like a bill or bond if you have the capacity. Then from there you can actually sort of progressively grow yourself and grow your salaries, and rather grow your investment. And by the time you clock 30, people are thinking about financial independence. Probably you're hitting your financial independence or something of sort. There are people who even retire at 35. There are people who even can retire at 30 because you've made yourself a quite of a good substantive investment and everything is running good. Okay, now the reality is, don't disregard those small investments. No matter how small they are, they can be your game changer. All right. Let's go to the next point. The next point is that debt management skills. You know what? Even the Bible says that the the borrower is always the what? Is always a slave of the lender. See, you have to understand what is debt. See, there is a good debt, there is a bad debt. There is a debt that you can take it that you're within the debt, and there's a debt that you can operate outside the debt. For example, say you have like 500 and you want to borrow 1,000. In that case scenario, you borrowed yourself out. You do not have the capacity to repay that debt. And at that case scenario, we usually say you are outside the debt. You cannot be able to manage that debt by yourself. But if you have 500 and borrow 300, then it means you're within the debt. You can be able to actually liquidate what you own so that you can do the debt away. Did I say that you're not supposed to borrow outside yourself? There is nothing wrong with doing that. But it's also good when you do that on the basis of you have the ability to do or to repay back the money. See, if you become an individual who borrows from one app to the next app, for example, if you're watching this from Kenya, you understand what I'm talking about. You find these guys, especially at this age, you're borrowing from right to left, you're borrowing everywhere and anywhere, and the money that you're borrowing, you're not even borrowing on the purposes of investment. So now you're violating the principle of investment. So you don't borrow to buy consumables. You borrow, you invest the money that you make from the borrowing. Now that's what you buy the consumables with, so that you may retain the capacity to repay back the loan that you have. And guess what? A man is always a product of a boy he was, same as a woman is always a product of a girl she was. If you do not know how to manage the debt, if you're an individual who is out there, you have a very worst credit score or something of sort, don't ever think that that thing by default gonna go away. Have you ever find some guys who usually have a problem paying their house rent? Not that they do not have the money, but they have to bring issues. Whenever they have to pay their landlords or landladies, these guys, they have to bring issues. It's like they don't want to pay. They feel like you get another thing. So if you sort of propagate that character on top of yourself, that thing gonna follow you like all the time. So it is good to make sure that at least you manage your debt as early as you can. Try to incorporate those services, or rather try to incorporate those understandings of that knowledge, so that by the time now you're now making a substantive amount of money, you can say, hey, guess what? I can be able to manage myself. I know what are debts. I know what are good debt. How can I be able to manage this debt? How can I invest this amount of money that I've borrowed, and such kind of things? Because if you continue with this kind of a character, you are the guys who actually hits their 50 or 30 or 50, 40s, and you're making some good amount of money, and everyone is over you asking, hey, guess what? Pay back our money, and such kind of things. I'm telling you the real thing. We got to point number 4, is that money is made. You know what? Money is not made, brother. Money is not made. Money is attracted. I know that's what you understand mostly in your life, that, hey, go out there, make money as much as you can. You can't make money. Money is actually attracted. See, this is an information that most of the people tend to confuse. You see, okay, I know by the back of your head, you'd love to make six figures, in terms of maybe salary or whatever the amount of money. But the fact remains, the amount of money is we should say it's directly proportional, number one, to the amount of people or the number of people that you do what? You influence. Two, is directly proportional to the value that you have. The more valuable you are, the more money you will make. Let me explain. Listen, if you go to a typical place, you're going to find different classes of people. Let's go in a typical office. There is someone who prepares teas, make sure that those desks are clean and whatever. They do the laundry services and what have you. And the same office, there is somebody like a HR. So realize, like the HR, or maybe say human resource management or whatever, that guy obviously make money from that guy who usually do the cleaning and what have you. So tell me, why are those people paid differently? They are paid differently based on what we call the perceived value. You are paid based on what we call the perceived value. How does the society view you? How valuable are you to the society? And the only way you can become more valuable to the society, for them to pay you extra amount of money, or more money, as you may call it, is by virtue of you having more value compared to other people. And how do you gain the value? You gain the value by learning. Remember one thing, if you see, the more you earn, or rather the more you learn, the more you earn. The more you acquire information, because information is power, information is money. That's a reality. So the fact remains, for example, what do you think the CEOs get to be paid that a lot of amount of money? It's because they have accumulated a lot of knowledge. And that's why you find some people usually say, hey, guess what? I have an undergraduate degree. I'm going to go back to university, get masters and such kind of a thing. That used to work back then in traditional setup. Nowadays, things are changing. You can be employed with a certain degree, but you have an extra knowledge and extra understandings that can make you make more money in the process. For example, why are you watching this video? Because, hey, if you've been watching this video, you know there is something that I talk about investments, about money that can help you do something about your life. So it means that particular area, I am informed. So the more valuable you are, the more money you make, and at the same time, the more money will be thrown at you. So don't move with this mentality on top of your head like you deserve to earn. No, you deserve to be paid this amount of money. No, you're not paid based on what you think you're supposed to be paid. You are paid back based by the value that you emit to the society. And they usually say this: if you can change many number of people, you can help people achieve their dreams, then in the process, you as nature has that, or the universe has that capability of actually turning to you and be able to help you and carry you forward in achieving your goal. So the money is never made. Government make money. You don't make money. What you do is to attract money to your end. Number 5 is that nobody owes you nothing. See, at 20s, people tend to believe and think like everyone owes them something. Whenever they are not doing good, it's because of government. Whenever they are not doing good, because of my parents. Whenever they are not good, because of the environment, because of anything. They blame anybody and everything out there. They believe that everybody should just shut up whatever they are doing and actually concentrate on them and help them to achieve the things. I had that kind of a mentality. I remember back when I graduated, I wrote a very nice business plan and sent it to my parents and told them, hey, you know what, guys, there are no jobs out there. You're supposed to help me, start a business and do those kind of things. And there was no reply. And I was like, God damn. You people, you don't even love me in that. I mean, you cannot even support me. You cannot even do all these kind of things. Feeling those kind of entitlement. See, when you're 20s, you tend to blame everybody. And that's why people work with these controversial understandings, thinking, you become theorists and all those kind. Have you ever met those and that's why sometimes when I sit down with these students, sometimes when you listen to them, they operate from a theoretical point of view. They don't know how the real life is out there. They tend to think like the way you see, the moment you are with more people out there who are facing the same challenge. For example, let's say you operate a business, you meet somebody and maybe say, according to you, the business is not doing good. And then you go meet somebody else who tells you the same and you meet another one who tells you the same. So what do you think happens? That necessity that was being created inside of you to find out why the business is not working is no longer there. Why? You tend to feel like, hey, it's a common thing, it's a commonality. Then at that particular point, you say that's a crowd thinking. So the point remains to be, it is good to make sure that you understand as early as you can. Nobody cares about you. The earlier you understand this, the earlier you accept this, the better it will be. So from there, you can pick yourself progressively and do something about your life. And people can tell you are a hardworking person. Again, just remember what I've told you. The more you learn, the more you earn. Number 6, no, budgeting is quite an important thing. Budgeting. And people tend to think like budgeting applies to those people who earn a lot of money. No, that's not the case. Budgeting applies to anybody who earns money. It does not matter whether it's small, big, or whatever. So if you learn the skills of budgeting is like, it's not even like, it's telling money where to go rather than wondering where it went. And budgeting, by the way, for your information, is the only sacred language that money understands. Because money is very spiritual. I always tell people, money is energy. And one principle about energy, it cannot be created nor destroyed, but can be transformed from one form to blah, blah, all those kind of things. So also you need to have a stream. And you see, energy usually have that stream, that conveyor belt. So there also money needs to have that conveyor belt, needs to have a working budget, not just a budget, but a working budget, a real and reasonable budget. It's like a timetable. Back when you were in school, you must have a timetable. We cannot just, can you imagine if you operated without a timetable? Two teachers can clash in a classroom. Hey, let me teach. No, let me just teach. Can you imagine? See, there must be a harmony when it comes to you utilizing your money. You cannot just have all your money on the table and then you're picking it randomly, using whatever you want to do. Because at the end of the day, you can be deceived by the body. See, what the heart desires is so much not so good in proportion in terms of, see, there is an emotional decision, there is a logic decision. So, but if you operate on the point of budgeting, then you can be able to do something good. Number 7, emergency fund. This one does not even need even any explanation. You need to have an emergency fund in your life. It's quite essential. And there are people who tell me I'm saving because of the rainy day, and you save immediately it rains. No. See, emergency fund is that money that you set aside to shoulder you, or a soft landing just in case something happens. Is a thing, the skill that you need to learn as early as you can. This way, it's gonna help you even when you have a family. If you're looking forward to having a family. I'm saying that because some of people nowadays are not even the family people, they don't want that kind of a thing. Then we appreciate that. So the point is, this is good to have what we call the emergency fund with you that can be able to caution you in such an occurrence. Number 8, lifestyle inflation. There are people who, the moment you add some little bit, see, for example, say you are earning 10,000. For example, I started with 5,000. All that increment has been happening throughout my life. And I know you can remember a time when you used to learn or earn something like 5, 10, 15, 30, 45. People probably watching this video, you're at your 200. You're still complaining about the same problems and challenges you're complaining when you're having 5K. What's happening is because you are increasing the lifestyle. You're upgrading your lifestyle. You've never even realized an increment of salary, of money, or how much you make, because you always proportionally, you get 30,000, you shift from 2,000 house, you go to 10,000, get 100,000 as a salary, you go to 20,000. Every time you've been chasing up the life, you've been chasing up. See, you don't do that. Sometimes there's something called delayed gratification. You can afford to pay that 60,000 rent, but you're not there. You see, you can even live in 20, and then the 40 you can invest it, and maybe later you can acquire your own home, obviously following the principles that we outlined here last time. Okay, so the point is this: learn to understand there's something called the lifestyle inflation. Number 9, networking with right people. I did not say networking, I said networking with the right people. You can network with the people who complain like you. You can network with people who are facing the same challenges like you. And when I say challenges, I don't mean like not having, I mean like the mental problems. Mental problems here, again, I don't mean like you being insane. I mean like, having the wrong, mentality and perception about life and all those kind of things. So it is good to be keen and cautious. The last one is about professional finance advice. See, try talk to a 20 years individual about it. Is important to go and meet a professional, sit them down and have a conversation, maybe say about financial literacy. They don't understand what you're talking about. They are still not in a position to understand that you can pay somebody to teach you something about money. And not just people at 20. Most of the Africans, they are not yet to understand that you can pay somebody. The only people they believe that they can pay to talk to is a doctor when you are sick. And that's kind of weird. Think about that. Anyway, if you'd like to have a conversation with me over the same, you can always pick my number from the description of this specific video. Shoot me a call or an email. I have my email there as well. Make sure that you comment down below, and let's meet in the next video.